just relax and think about all of those 2024 releases that are about to land in your lap. Hello fellow book nerds, this is Gabby, and today I have an exciting video because we're talking 2024 January and February new releases that yours truly is really excited for. So we have spoken about 24 books that I'm excited to pick up in 2024 or 2024 new releases I'm excited to read in 2024, but there was only like 2 of slots for January, 2 slots for February, so I thought there were so many other books I'm really excited for and I think you would want to hear about. So let's chat about them anyway. There will be no repeats from that video, so if you're curious about like the most anticipated books for either of those months from me, go check out that video, which I will link up above. But today we're just gonna chat about all the other ones, so no repeats, so hopefully this video will be fresh. And this is the first video of 2024, so I just wanted to say Happy New Year. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope your year is filled with happiness, and I hope we hang out loads this year and read loads, because I have an ambitious goal, so I need your moral support to meet it. Alright, I think we have a lot of books as per usual. It's 5 new releases in January, 5 new releases in February. So I'm just gonna kick it off because I always waffle and these become very long. First is a book that I didn't really encounter until I was doing research for this video, but it just looked so cool and I needed to tell you about it. It's called The Djinn Waits 100 Years by Shubnum. So this one's coming out on 9th of January and it's an adult historical fantasy horror, which are like buzzwords that really appeal to me. So I thought, let's check it out. I love the concepts of Djinn. I read some books that I really loved with those creatures, so I'm just always fascinated to find out more and learn and find more books. And the synopsis sounds really good, so let's read it. Akbar Manzil was once a grand estate off the coast of South Africa. Now, nearly a century since it was built, it stands in an isolated boarding house for misfits seeking to forget their pasts and disappear into the mansion's dark corners. Until Sana. She and her father are the latest of Akbar Manzil's long list of tenants, seeking a new home after suffering painful loss. Unlike the others, who choose not to look too closely at the mansion's unsettling qualities, the strange assortment of bones in the overgrown garden, the mysterious figures seen to move sometimes at night, she is curious and questioning and finds herself irresistibly drawn to the history of the mansion, to the eerie and forgotten East Wing, home to a clatter of broken and abandoned objects, and to the locked door at its end, unopened for decades. Behind the door is a bedroom frozen in time, with faded photographs of a couple in love and a worn diary that whispers of dark, long-forgotten story of a young woman named Mina, the original owner's second wife, who died there tragically 100 years ago. Watching Sana from the room's shadows is a grieving Djinn, an invisible spirit who once loved Mina and has haunted the mansion since her mysterious death. Obsessed with Mina's story and unaware of the creature that follows her, Sana digs into the past like fingers into a wound, awaking the memories of the house itself, and dredging up old and terrible secrets that will change the lives of everyone living and dead at Akbar Manzil. I especially really love the bedroom frozen in time because I think the pitch says Rebecca meets Fatima Marzin Mirza, which I'm not sure what Fatima Marzin Mirza is, but Rebecca, I know, I've not read, but I know of it, so I know that it's gonna be some delicious gothic eeriness, mad woman kind of thing, and I'm ready for that. Book number 2 is an exciting one because your girl got an arc, and it's called The Principle of Moments by Esmie Jikiemi-Pearson. So this was coming out on 18th of January, and it's, well, I think it's YA because I've heard of this book when I was at YOLC, which is Young Adult Literature Convention, but Goodreads says it's adult. So let's put a pin in that and I'll let you know when I read it. Sci-fi fantasy romance with LGBTQ characters. And like I mentioned, I've got an arc and I'm very, very excited to read it and tell you what I thought about it. But this is the synopsis. 6066. In Emperor Trajan's brave new galaxy, humans are not citizens. Instead, they are indentured laborers, working to repay the debt they unwittingly incurred when they settled on Gahran, a desert planet already owned by the Emperor himself. Asha Akindele knows she's just another voiceless cog working the assembly lines that fuel his vast imperial war machine. Her only rebellion, studying stolen aeronautics manuals in the dead of night. But then a cloaked stranger arrives to deliver an impossible message, and her life changes in an instant. 1812. Obi Amadi is done with time traveling. Never mind the fact he doesn't know how to cure himself of the temporal sickness he caught whilst anchoring his soul to Regency London, the one that unmakes him further with every jump, or if the prince he loves will ever love him back, or why his father disappeared. He is done, until he hears about the ghost of a girl in the British Museum, a girl from another time. When Obi's path tangles with Asha's and a prophecy awakens in the cold darkness of space, they must voyage through the stars, racing against time, tyranny, and the legacy of free heroes from an ancient religion who may be awakening, reincarnated in ways beyond comprehension. I love dual timeline stories, especially when they end up interacting with each other in some ways. I love reincarnation, and yeah, I love time traveling. I think I've not read that many books with time traveling, but I do love the idea of like meeting each other back in time and stuff. So this sounds really, really interesting, kind of complicated, really like rich and sci-fi. So I'm excited to pick this one up. Okay, the next book, I saw the cover and I was just like captured my attention to the point where I was like, I don't know what this is about really, but it looks really cool, so I really want to pick it up. It's called Womb City by Tlotlo Tsamaase. It's coming out on 23rd of January and it's a sci-fi dystopian horror. So it says that Womb City imagines a dark and deadly future Botswana, rich with culture and true folklore, which I think is really cool. I don't think I've ever read books set in Botswana, even though it's future Botswana, so maybe not the most accurate, but this is the synopsis. Neela seems to have it all: wealth, fame, a husband, and child on the way. But in a body her husband controls via microchip, and the tailspin of a loveless marriage, her hopes and dreams come to a devastating halt. A drug-fueled night of celebration ends in a hit and run. To dodge a sentencing in a society that favors men, Neela and her side piece. sorry. I'm sorry. It's just really funny to read the word side piece in the synopsis of a book. Neela and her side piece, Janet Koshal, finish the victim off and bury the body. But the secret claws its way into Neela's life from the grave, as her victim's vengeful ghost begins exacting a bloody revenge on everyone Neela holds dear. She'll have to unravel her society's terrible secrets to stop those in power and become a monster unlike any other to quench the ghost's violent thirst. Okay, I never probably read that synopsis. That sounds absolutely wild. I mean, just bizarre. But I'm curious to see where it goes. I mean, hopefully she'll learn a lesson about hit and runs. I guess we'll find out. Another book that really captured my attention because of the cover, and I actually got confused with this cover with the other cover, but I really do like Womb City cover. But this one I thought just looked really cool, and it had really interesting title because it's Into the Sunken City by Dinesh Thiru. It's coming out on 23rd of January. It's a YA fantasy retelling. And the Sunken City, like Atlantis, has really always appealed to me on a deep, deep level. So I have no clue if that's what this book is about, but let's find out together. In the slowly sinking city of Coconino, Arizona, the days are long, the money is tight, and the rain never stops. For Djinn Halder, the life is nothing new. Ever since her father died in a diving accident, she's barely made ends meet for her and her younger sister, Tara. Enter Bill, a drifter who offers Djinn and Tara the score of a lifetime, a massive stash of gold hidden in the sunken ruins of Las Vegas. Djinn knows it's too dangerous. She stopped diving after her father's accident. But when her sister decides to go, Djinn's left with only one choice, to go with her. A ragtag crew is assembled, including Djinn's annoying ex-boyfriend. From there, a high-stakes heist ensues that's beyond even Djinn's wildest fears. Crumbling ruins, sea beasts, corsairs, and a mysterious figure named Hao Silva all lie in wait. To survive, Djinn will have to do what she promised herself she'd never do again: dive. Okay, so it's got nothing to do with Atlantis, but I do think it's fun to have like Sunken Los Angeles. It's like modern Atlantis. And I think there was also, this was tagged as pirate book. I love me some pirates. So yeah, sounds very fun, sounds slightly weird. I'm here for it. And the fifth book coming out in January, and then we're gonna do a couple of shoutouts for sequels, is The Bullet Swallower by Elizabeth Gonzalez James. So this one's coming out on 23rd of January, and it's an adult historical fiction and like a Western with a magic realism twist. So it has dual timeline, and I just thought it sounded really, really cool. I think I like the idea of a Western in theory. I don't know if I'd like it in execution, but let me tell you what the book is about. In 1895, Antonio Sonoro is the latest in a long line of ruthless men. He's good with his gun and is drawn to trouble, but he's also out of money and out of options. A drought has ravaged the town of Dorado, Mexico, where he lives with his wife and children. And so when he hears about a train laden with gold and other treasures, he sets off for Houston to rob it, with his younger brother Hugo in tow. But when the heist goes awry and Hugo is killed by the Texan Rangers, Antonio finds himself launched into a quest for revenge that endangers not only his life and his family, but his eternal soul. In 1964, Jamie Serrano is Mexico's most renowned actor and singer. But his comfortable life is disrupted when he discovers a book that purports to tell the entire history of his family, beginning with Cain and Abel. In its ancient pages, Jamie learns about the multitude of horrific crimes committed by his ancestors. And when the same mysterious figure from Antonio's timeline shows up in Mexico City, Jamie realizes that he may be the one. Oh, it's Jaime. Sorry. Jaime realizes that he may be the one who has to pay for his ancestors' crimes, unless he can discover the true story of his grandfather Antonio, the legendary bandito El Trabalas, the Bullet Swallower. Family history all the way from Cain and Abel? That's wild. That's absolutely wild. I love that. Okay, and then I just wanted to give quick shout outs to a couple sequels I'm excited for, because I never know that sequels are coming out, and then I always find out months later and I'm like, but I didn't want to like do a whole big section and I didn't want to take up space. So these are 3 sequels that I'm excited for, that maybe you're excited for as well. So first is House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas, which is the conclusion to the trilogy, Crescent City trilogy, first book being House of Earth and Blood. Then we also have Mislaid in Parts Half Known by Shauna Maguire, which is the latest book in Wayward Children series. And then we have Dark Star Burning, Ash Falls White by Emily Wen Zhao. So this is a sequel to Song of Silver, Flame Like Night, which I've read last year, really enjoyed, and have a whole discussion video where I tell you why I enjoyed it. So I'm really excited for these sequels, but let's get into February. Okay, first book in February is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. So this one's coming out on 6th of February, and it's an adult fantasy romance. And if you're not familiar with Ali Hazelwood, she's a romance author. I've read her first ever book, which was a rail retelling, which I really enjoyed. And they usually have like a twist with women in STEM, and I feel like most of them are rail retellings, but how many can you really do? So I'm not sure about all that. But this is, I think, her first fantasy. I was really interested to check it out because the cover looked cool. The concept, I think, is about vampires, which I really like, and it's Ali Hazelwood, so I wanted to know what the buzz was about. So this is the synopsis. Misery Lark, the only daughter of the most powerful vampire councilman of the Southwest, is an outcast again. Her days of living in anonymity among the humans are over. She has been called upon to uphold a historic peacekeeping alliance between the vampires and their mortal enemies, the Wares. And she sees little choice but to surrender herself in the exchange. Again, Wares are ruthless and unpredictable, and their alpha, Low Moreland, is no exception. He rules his pack with absolute authority, but not without justice. And unlike the Vampire Council, not without feeling. It's clear from the way he tracks Misery's every movement that he doesn't trust her. If only he knew how right he was. Because Misery has her own reasons to agree to the marriage of convenience. Reasons that have nothing to do with politics or alliances and everything to do with the only thing she's ever cared about. And she is willing to do whatever it takes to get back what's hers, even if it means a life alone in Were territory. Alone with a wolf. I love marriage of convenience. I feel like it's a sister trope to my favorite trope, which is fake dating, fake marriage, whatever you want to call it, fake relationship. I love that trope, and I think marriage of convenience works well with it because there's just so much tension, and you're already married, and there's things you have to do. I love it, I love it. And this is about vampires versus werewolves. So, Twilight is back, baby. I am curious to see what the book is actually like. I hope it's good. I hope it's good fun. And yeah, I'm excited for it. Okay, next book has super captivating cover, so that's why I decided I want to read it. But then I read the synopsis and it actually sounds really good as well. Very vague, but really good. So the book is called Your Shadow Half Remains by Moraine. So this book is coming out on 6th of February and it's an adult horror with LGBTQ characters. And here's the vague but intriguing synopsis. One look can kill. Riley has not seen a single human face in longer than she can reckon. No faces, no eyes. Not if you want to survive. But when a new neighbor moves in down the road, Riley's overwhelming need for human contact makes her throw caution to the wind. Somehow, in this world where other people can mean a gruesome, bloody death, Alice makes her feel safe. As they grow closer, Riley's grip on reality begins to slip, and she can no longer fight her deepest desires. All Riley wants to do is look. Sounds a lot like Bird Box. That's it. I've not read Bird Box. I have watched some of it. I don't like horror movies. They freak me out, but I love horror books. So I'm excited. I feel like this lists more sci-fi and fantasy, which I do want to reclaim this year as my genres, but I still want to read some horror, and that sounds like a good one. But next one is also horror, but it's also fantasy, and I can't believe that I got an ARC for it. So it's called An Education in Malice by T. Gibson. So it's coming out on 13th of February, and it's an adult gothic horror fantasy. And this is, I don't actually know if it's in any way like a sequel, but it's from the author of A Dowry of Blood, which is a really, really good book. So I'm really excited for this one. So pumped to have the ARC. And this is what the book is about. Deep in the forgotten hills of Massachusetts stands St. Perpetua's College. Isolated and ancient, it is not a place for timid girls. Here, secrets are currency, ambition is lifeblood, and strange ceremonies welcome students into the fold. On her first day of class, Laura Sheridan is thrust into an intense academic rivalry with the beautiful and enigmatic Carmilla. Together, they are drawn into the confidence of their demanding poetry professor, de La Fontaine, who holds her own dark obsession with Carmilla. As the rivalry blossoms into something far more delicious, Laura must confront her own strange hungers. Tangled in a sinister game of politics, bloodthirsty professors, and dark magic, Laura and Carmilla must decide how much they are willing to sacrifice in their ruthless pursuit of knowledge. Okay, I do not know. I don't know if this is a retelling or just inspired by Carmilla, because book one or her previous book, Dowry Blood, was inspired by Dracula, or more accurately, Dracula's Brides. So I've read Carmilla. Carmilla is the OG vampire. She even existed before Dracula. Although vampires, I feel like, have been a concept for very, very long time. She is one of the OG, and she's gay, so I assume this book is also gay. So I hope it is. Otherwise, it'd be very disappointing. But Dowry was, so it makes sense it would be. Okay. Let's move on to the next book, which is Fathomfolk by Eliza Chan. So this one's coming out on 27th of February, and it's an adult fantasy, and I've got an arc as well. So there's going to be a lot of reading in February. But I really, really like the cover. I usually really love kind of Asian, Chinese / Korean inspired books, or like mythology inspired books, as you can see by pretty much the whole, well, except for Mortal Longings, pretty much all of these. So I'm excited for this one. I'm looking for my next favorite one, and I feel like this one might be it. But of course, I don't want to overhype my expectations to then be disappointed. So let's see how it goes. But this is the synopsis. Welcome to Tian Kavi, a shining pearl of human civilization and a safe haven for those fleeing civil unrest. Or at least, that's how it first appears. But in the semi-flooded city, humans are, quite literally, peering down from skyscrapers on aerial walkways on the Fathomfolk. Sirens, sea witches, kelpies, and kappas, who live in the polluted waters below. For half-siren Mira, promotion to captain of the border guard means an opportunity to reform. At least, she has the ear of the city council and a chance to lift the repressive laws that restrict Fathomfolk at every turn. But if earning the trust and respect of her human colleagues wasn't hard enough, everything Mira has worked towards is put in jeopardy when a water dragon is exiled to the city. New arrival Nami is an aristocratic water dragon with an opinion on everything. Frustrated by the lack of progress from Mira's softly approach in gaining equality, Nami throws her lot with an anti-human extremist group, leaving Mira to find the headstrong youth before she makes everything worse. And pulling strings behind everything is Cordelia, a second-generation sea witch determined to do what she must to survive and see her family flourish, even if it means climbing over the bodies of her competitors. Her political game playing and underground connections could disrupt everything Nami and Mira are fighting for. I love mermaids. They're my favorite, creature. I don't know, fantasy creature. But I'm having a hard time finding books I like with them. So this is it could be amazing. It could also be a massive flop, like every other book I've read with mermaids. So I'm still on the hunt. But we'll see. I'm excited for this one. Again, I have an arc, so excited to read the arc. And let's talk about the fifth book that's coming out in February that I'm looking forward to. So the final book is A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. It's coming out on 27th of February, and it's an adult fantasy romance. So this book, I thought the cover looks really cool. I kept seeing it everywhere. I felt like it was really hyped on TikTok or something, but I just kept seeing the cover everywhere without knowing anything about the book. And it's inspired by Norse mythology, which is something I'm intrigued by. So I'm curious to give it a chance, but this is the synopsis. Bound in an unwanted marriage, Freya spends her days gutting fish, but dreams of becoming a warrior, and of putting an axe in her boorish husband's back. Freya's dreams abruptly become reality when her husband betrays her to the region's Jarl, landing her in a fight to the death against his son, Bjorn. To survive, Freya is forced to reveal her deepest secret. She possesses a drop of goddess's blood, which makes her a shield maiden with magic capable of repelling any attack. It was foretold such a magic would unite the fractured nation of Skaland beneath the one who controls the shield maiden's fate. Believing he's destined to rule Skaland as king, the fanatical Jarl binds Freya with a blood oath and orders Bjorn to protect her from their enemies. Desperate to prove her strength, Freya must train to fight and learn to control her magic, all while facing perilous tests set by the gods. The greatest test of all, however, may be resisting her forbidden attraction to Bjorn. If Freya succumbs to her lust for charming and fierce warrior, she risks not only her own destiny, but the fate of all people she swore to protect. Yeah, girl, don't give up all the people just for some tea. Okay, so those are all the books that I'm excited for coming out in January and February, which is a little bit of a lie because there's even more that I could have talked about because there's so many great books coming out and I'm really excited to dive into all of them. Again, the ones I have an arc for, 100% is going to be a review in some form at some point. So if you're interested in that, please subscribe. What's the book that you're most excited for coming out January, February? Is this something you track? You want to know what's up out there, like what's coming out? Or are you more, let me hear the hype after it comes out and make a decision then? Sometimes a safer decision, but it is cool to be in the early people crowd. So maybe you want to read these with me. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, if you could comment, like, and subscribe, I really appreciate it. It really helps me out. But that's it from me, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!